Coach, we have a lot to talk about tonight. You have a sectional coming up here pretty soon. You have a couple of final games of the regular season, but I hate to go back to last week. You just kind of informed me what happened last week. You have a good first half, and then you said you just couldn't finish that game off.
Well, we had, second half we had some struggles. Run defense-wise we played great. They hit a couple big passes on us that hurt us, and then we didn't move the ball on offense very well the second half. I mean, we had over 200 yards rushing in the first half. Second half we got in trouble with some field position issues, and we just didn't get the ball out where we could change field position very well. And, we gave them short field quite a bit. And, it's tough to stop teams in the short field that many times. So, I thought overall defensively we played very well. We gave up just enough to let them tie it up in regulation, and then, in overtime they scored, and we didn't. So, that was the ball game.
How tough is it? I know you're frustrated, but you have another close one right there, and we talked last week about close games that you've had this year and just unable to pull them out. It has to be a little frustrating.
Well, sure it is. I mean, anytime you get that close and you have opportunities to win a game, you feel like you should win it. I know our kids feel like we should win games when they're close, and so we just got to figure out what that one thing is we're missing that'll help us, finish at the end of a game and put things away. Whether it's getting a first down or, whatever it is.
Your players, though, know they're close, right? And you guys know you're close. At least I kind of get that idea that, like you said, just a couple of things here or there, and it'll change the dynamic of the game.
Well, yeah, I think, any game that's tight like that, I think I always tell kids one play is not going to lose a game. But, if you have a series of plays and, that either go against you or go for you, it can make a big difference in the game. And, we didn't have any one play that I can point to and say that cost us the game, but there were several things that, we either didn't field something or we had a fumble or we gave the ball up, in short field. Those things kind of compound on each other, and by next thing you know, you look up and you go, oh man, this is tied. So, we've got to figure out a way to keep those things from happening.
Coach, before we talk about this week, now how the tournament looks, at least in that first game. Can you talk a little bit about the upcoming tournament, and what did you like about it as far as the draw? What didn't you like about it?
Well, there's nothing to like about the draw, really. I mean, for us, there's not. I mean, we're playing Indy Lutheran. I think they're ranked 4th in the state in 1A. We have played them a couple times over the last few years. I know we played them in the sectional final a couple years ago when my youngest son was a senior. So we have some history with them. We drew them last year, first round of the sectional. So, I don't know. We seem to keep getting them, but when Cecina was in our sectional, we got Cecina a few times. So, it is what it is. And obviously, if you're going to win a sectional, you'd like to think you're going to beat the better teams out there. So, unfortunately, we have to try to do it the first week. I really don't know anything about them this year other than, I know they had a few kids back from last year, and, they were pretty darn good last year. So, from the standpoint of, what did I like about it? Not a whole lot. It makes it tough for our seniors when they, and it's not that we're not going to prepare, we're not going to plan on winning the game, but, it's an uphill task for us in the sectional. So, from the standpoint of, getting ready, I guess it's kind of good because we get to go out there and play, and, they got a new stadium and some stuff. So, it'll be a nice facility to play in. And our goal is just to get our kids ready to play and do the best we can.
And certainly you look at it from this standpoint that it is an opportunity, and you play the game, you never know what might happen, but it is a great opportunity for you guys.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you look at sectional pairings, every game's an opportunity to keep playing. And, unfortunately, like I said, we got probably the toughest, one of the top 2 teams in the sectional between Lutheran and Hagerstown. We've got Lutheran, and I guess that's better than playing Hagerstown last week of the season and then, first week of the sectional. But it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for our kids to see where they're at and, compared to other programs and see what other programs are doing. Why are they good? Not just – and, sometimes it's just they got better athletes. Sometimes it's they work harder. So, so it's an opportunity for our kids to see a different program that we don't see all the time except in the sectional. Yeah. And and kind of learn, our younger kids, our seniors, it's, like I said, a tough draw for them. But our younger kids, it gives them an opportunity, I think, to play against some top-notch competition and also to see, how other teams are doing things.
Coach, this week, talk a little bit about Friday night. You play an opponent that you looked earlier in the year. They lose Bray, their running back. Their offense did click a little bit, but it seems like it's struggling right now, and they just can't seem to find their grip on offense. Defense still playing well. What about Friday night?
Well, yeah, they're good defensively, and they're aggressive. They play hard. Their linebackers are good kids. They step up and attack, and their front four, sometimes five, depending on what formation that they're going against, is aggressive and plays hard. So from the standpoint of what do we have to do, it's no different than any other week. We've got to dominate the line of scrimmage, and if we do, we've got an opportunity, whether it's offense or defense. So if we can play well defensively on the front and offensively on the front, then we've got a chance to win the game. Obviously, like you said, they've lost a kid, but I always say this, but I don't really know kids' names that much. But number 42, good hard runner. I mean, that kid can run. So that's one kid that we have to pay attention to is where's he lined up? How are they trying to get him the ball? And he's their primary ball carrier right now. So we know he's a kid that we got to look out for, and we got to see where he's at. But it all comes down to, just like almost every week, it all comes down to those front five, front six kids.
Can you anticipate that the way they run the football, that you dare them to pass, because they really don't throw the ball very well? If you can take away that run, certainly might give an advantage.
Well, I don't know. We took away the run last week, and we did some things that and Union City threw the ball better than I thought they could. So every week you just never know. We want to take the best thing away from them. I thought we took the best thing away from Union City, and made them do stuff that they haven't really done that well this year, and they threw the ball decent. So, who knows what's going to happen? They're 17, 18-year-old kids. Somebody gets on fire, and all of a sudden, you got to rethink some things. But, I don't want to say, we want to make them pass, but, we want to take away their best offense, which is their counter game and their trap and their lead stuff. So if we can take care of those three areas, then we think we've got a chance.
From your standpoint, when they do run that type of an offense, there's a lot of misdirection. You got to really pay attention where that football is. Talk about your preparation this week to make sure that everybody plays exactly where you need them to play, so they're not fooled by that.
Well, it is tough because it's something we don't see every week. We see some things kind of similar, but not exactly the same as they do things. So it is a little bit different for us. So we've got to really pay attention to their pulls, and we can't get caught watching backfield action because they're not always going where the ball's going, but those linemen are. So if we can focus on our job and make sure we read our keys properly, I think we'll be okay. And I think with Chase Hokie, he's a pretty good linebacker. I don't think you'll find any coach in the conference that says, "Oh no, that kid's not very good." He's a good linebacker, and he does a good job reading and getting to the football. He's around the ball all the time. So I expect for him to be around the ball this Friday. But it's got to be more than one kid getting to the ball. So everybody's got to do their job. It's not nothing is a one-man team. So as good as Chase is, he can't beat Northeastern by himself. So he's got to have our defensive linemen, he's got to have our other linebackers, and all those people working together, reading their keys, doing, keeping in position. Like you said, they just got to play their position and understand what their responsibilities are.